What if I told you that one of the most powerful men in the history of Formula One has just publicly declared that Lewis Hamilton, yes, the 7-time champion, is nothing more than a simple marketing product? Are we facing a nostalgic critique of another era, or facing an uncomfortable truth that no one dared to say? Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time British champion, has been the subject of some of the fiercest and most ruthless criticism in the recent history of Formula One. The author, none other than Bernie Ecclestone, the architect of the modern championship, a man who, at 95 years old, still casts a long shadow over the paddock. In an unfiltered interview with German outlet Sport.de, Ecclestone unleashed a media whirlwind by declaring that Hamilton is nothing more than a marketing product. He didn't say it was overrated. He didn't say it was in decline. He said it is, in essence, a commercial setup. Those words, in that context, sound more like a sentence than an analysis. This statement comes with historical weight, because it's not just a sarcastic comment or a momentary criticism. It comes from the figure who shaped for more than 4 decades the way in which Formula One is consumed, negotiated, and experienced. Ecclestone is not just talking about a driver. He is attacking the evolution of the sport. And he does so by pointing to the face that most embodies that transformation: Lewis Hamilton. A driver who, for better or worse, has transcended sports and has become a media, political, social, aesthetic, cultural, and business figure. But why now? Why drop this bomb right in 2025, when Hamilton is in one of the most vulnerable moments of his career, in his debut year with Ferrari, without podiums, without victories, with a performance dramatically inferior to that of his teammate Charles Leclerc and other direct competitors? Precisely for that reason. Because Ecclestone has found the ideal moment to articulate a narrative that has been years in the making. The idea that Hamilton is no longer a competitive driver, but rather an empty symbol. A walking showcase, a franchise wrapped in sequins and advertising contracts. By saying it's just a marketing product, Ecclestone is trying to reframe his entire legacy. And this is not coincidental. Hamilton, since joining Ferrari, has been in the eye of the storm. His signing, announced as one of the bombs of the century in F1, was received as a legendary move, the Mercedes idol joining the most legendary team in history. But after 20 grand prizes, the results have not been good. Expectations collapsed with brutal speed. And in that void of results, Hamilton's figure has been exposed. In the eyes of traditionalists, he is now just a man who walks the catwalks of Paris, who launches clothing collections, who publishes social manifestos, but who does not win races. Ecclestone has taken advantage of this crack to construct his most lapidary criticism to date. But his speech did not stop at the marketing product label. It went much further. He said that Hamilton is realizing that he can't be champion, suggesting that he is living a kind of self-deception, fueled by his environment and his own ego. He said that it has certainly been one of the best of the last 10 years, but not the best, while disparaging the records that equal him with Michael Schumacher. And in a sentence that seems designed to deliberately provoke him, he stated that his future is in fashion. That is to say, not only does he consider him incapable of competing for titles again, but he already sees him as a model, a businessman, a pretty face for campaigns, but not a driver capable of withstanding the tactical and technical pressure of the highest level. These statements not only set this season's narrative on fire, they have the potential to rewrite the way part of the public perceives the figure of Hamilton in the historical context of motorsport. Because if whoever built the system says that the greatest idol of this century was just a well-executed advertising campaign, then what is left of the sport? Where do we draw the line between genuine talent and manufacturing icons? Ecclestone, with just a few sentences, has questioned not only the present, but the entire recent past of Formula One. Ecclestone, who built modern F1 from the mud of the 1970s into a multi-million-dollar business, is not just seeing Hamilton as a driver with a bad season. He sees it as the embodiment of everything he never allowed: politicization, emotional globalization, image over results. In the world that Ecclestone created and controlled, drivers were gladiators who expressed themselves on the track. The cameras were in the car, not backstage at the fashion shows. The sponsorship was discreet, functional, technical, not an identity in itself. In his vision, a champion should speak with victories, not with activism. Hamilton, on the other hand, represents the complete reversal of that narrative. He is a driver who has won both on the asphalt and in the public arena. He has transformed his sports figure into a global platform. It's no longer just Lewis Hamilton, F1 driver. It is a social symbol, a cultural reference, a brand with planetary reach. And that, for Ecclestone, is anathema. It's exactly what you've wanted to avoid for decades. For him, F1 does not need spokespersons with social discourse, nor drivers with causes. You need silent winners, obedient to business, not activism. That's why Ecclestone's criticism is so profound. Because, without saying it explicitly, he is accusing the current system of having diluted the essence of pure competition. In his vision, Hamilton is the product of an ecosystem that prioritizes visibility over speed, narrative over performance. A system where winning matters, but not as much as being seen winning. In other words, he is denouncing that F1 is no longer a sport in the strict sense, but rather a spectacle of personalities, designed for mass consumption, closer to Hollywood than to Monza. But there is also another nuance to this criticism: frustration. Ecclestone, despite having been one of the architects of the commercialization of the sport, never imagined that drivers would have so much individual power. In his time, contracts were ironclad, public comments were measured, and pilots responded to structures, not the other way around. Hamilton has challenged all that. He has criticized the FIA, he has demanded social changes, he has promoted campaigns in defense of human rights, he has stood up to institutional racism, and he has done so from a position that was previously unimaginable. He is the most successful pilot of all time, and also the most politically active. From that perspective, Ecclestone's attack can be understood as an attempt to restore the old order, to remind the world that, in their conception, pilots are not there to bother. They are there to accelerate, to run, to shut up. And when one like Hamilton breaks that rule, the old system reacts with symbolic violence. It discredits him. It reduces it to a superficial phenomenon. He calls it a marketing product. The irony is that Ecclestone, in saying that, is not only confronting Hamilton. He also faces the reality of a sport that no longer belongs to him. That it has changed so much that it no longer needs your approval. Because although many may agree with his diagnosis, the world of current F1 operates under other codes, other audiences, other platforms. And that is perhaps the most powerful aspect of this controversy. That it's not just a clash of generations. It is a clash of visions. From a vertical, masculine past focused on power and performance, against a plural, media, symbolic, transversal present. Hamilton is not a marketing product. It is the symptom and consequence of a new F1 that has decided, for better or worse, to race on many more fronts than just the asphalt. To understand why Bernie Ecclestone's statements have resonated so strongly, it is necessary to take a closer look at what the 2025 season has been like for Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari. Because beyond the media, the symbolic, or the ideological, what has truly given credibility to this offensive is the British's sporting performance. Simply disastrous. A season that not only has not met expectations, but has brutally exposed the limitations of the Ferrari-Hamilton project. And this has served as the perfect fuel for those seeking to delegitimize his figure. When Hamilton's signing for Ferrari was announced, the world of Formula One came to a standstill. It was the union of two legends. The most successful driver of all time with the most legendary team in motorsports. But that promising marriage has turned into a nightmare. After 20 Grands Prix, Hamilton has not achieved a single podium in the main races. He has added just 109 points and is sixth in the Drivers' Championship, far behind his teammate Charles Leclerc, who surpasses him by more than 60 points. The contrast is painful, and the press has not been slow to highlight it. Not even his victory in the sprint race in China has served as a bomb. It was a flash, yes, a return to the smile, but fleeting. Because in the competitions that truly count, Hamilton has been irrelevant. Every weekend has seemed like a battle against his own car. The SF25 has proven to be an unpredictable machine, with serious structural problems that compromise both stability and adaptability. Not only is it a difficult car to drive, it is a car that does not forgive mistakes. And Hamilton, accustomed to the technical finesse of the Mercedes, has encountered a wild animal that he cannot tame. The problem worsens when we get into technical details. The SF25 suffers from a noticeable imbalance at corner entry, with a rear axle that loses stability under braking. For a driver like Hamilton, who bases his style on sensitivity with the brake and control of the rear axle, this is a major obstacle. Rob Smedley, former Ferrari race engineer, has been clear about this. The car has erratic behavior, especially in medium and high-speed corners, where rear grip becomes a decisive factor in making the difference. The car does not generate confidence. And without confidence, Hamilton can't attack. But perhaps the car's most critical defect is chronic overheating of the brakes. Ferrari has had to implement in almost all the Grand Prix the lift and coast technique, that is, lifting the foot off the accelerator before braking to cool the system. This not only compromises race pace, but literally deactivates any possibility of fighting for positions. It is estimated that this technique has made Ferrari lose between 12 and 15 seconds per Grand Prix. A devastating figure, especially in an era where differences are measured in tenths. Hamilton has been a direct victim of this failure. In Singapore, he suffered a complete loss of brakes in the final laps. He lost 44 seconds in just 2 laps and also received a penalty for exceeding track limits in his desperate attempt to control the car. It was a technical and mental collapse. The team, for its part, has shown a worrying lack of foresight. In the same race, Leclerc's engineer ordered Lico to be applied from lap 5. Instead, Hamilton ignored the early warnings. Was it a lack of communication? Lack of confidence in the team? A sign of internal rupture? The truth is that these problems have turned every weekend into a series of frustrations. Ferrari has been unable to offer Hamilton a competitive platform. And he, in turn, has not been able to adapt as quickly as expected. It's a lethal combination. Because if something is required of a driver of his caliber, it is that he compensates for the car's deficiencies with talent, intuition, and experience. But in this case, not even experience has been enough. The SF25 does not respect it. And Hamilton, for the first time in a long time, seems human. Make mistakes. Lose duels. He is out of position. All of this has given Ecclestone the perfect ammunition. Because it's one thing to say Hamilton is a marketing product when he's winning races. But it is quite another to do it when your performance is in free fall. The speech fits. The story fits. And the narrative of the star who faded, who no longer competes at the highest level, who only shines on magazine covers, becomes difficult to refute. Because the results are relentless. Reducing Lewis Hamilton to a mere marketing product is not only an unfair view, but also a dangerously reductionist reading of what it means to be a Formula One driver in the 21st century. Because while it is true that Hamilton has built a public image of enormous global impact over the years, that narrative cannot, nor should it, overshadow the fact that we are facing one of the most outstanding sporting talents in the history of motorsports. To equate his figure exclusively to an advertising campaign is to ignore 2 decades of excellence, records, technical reinvention, and competitive consistency at the highest level. It is, in short, trying to erase what he has been and what he continues to be, an elite competitor hungry for victory. Hamilton has not won 105 major awards for having a good image agency. He has not won 7 world titles, equaling Michael Schumacher himself, for wearing designer clothes. He has done it because his talent, his ability to adapt, his technical sensitivity, and his mentality under pressure place him in a category reserved for the greatest of all time. Since his debut in 2007, Lewis showed that he was not just any driver. He challenged Fernando Alonso in his rookie season, became world champion the following year, and then built an era-defining empire of dominance with Mercedes. The thing is that Hamilton didn't stop there. He was not satisfied with being a champion on the track. He expanded his influence beyond the circuits. He broke the mold. He became the first black driver in the history of Formula One in a historically closed and elitist sport. And with that, he opened a door that had been sealed for generations. He went beyond the role of athlete and assumed that of spokesperson. He talked about racism. He demanded inclusion. He founded his own foundation. He influenced the FIA to take stronger stances on equality. He used his platform to make social, environmental, and cultural causes visible. In an environment that for years avoided any positioning, he decided to be different. At this point, the debate is no longer simply about whether or not Hamilton is in top form. It's not even exclusively about his results with Ferrari in 2025. What's at stake here is much deeper. Lewis Hamilton's place in motorsport history is being questioned. Is he a true legend, forged by his talent and his victories? Or is it, as Bernie Ecclestone implies, a media construction skillfully sustained by marketing and discourses external to sporting performance? Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.